Hey everybody, it is Romania Black, and we are back to the Untamed. I'm so excited. I finished catching up with the novel and audio drama editions of Modazushi this morning, and so I've got my dogs here. I've got a cup of coffee. I am ready to go. So when we left off with the Untamed, WuXian was being it's basically where episode 2 of the Donghua left off. Just like, same thing. Left off right there, and we're getting ready to see what old Lanzan is going to do with our dear boy WuXian. Taking it back to Gusu, obviously. But I'm very curious to know what their plan is to do with this adaptation, because y'all have said that it expands on a lot of things from the Donghua. It ties back to the novel. It does a few things different. So I'm very curious to see what's all going to happen. We're going to watch episodes 3 and 4 today with this. So I'm pretty excited. I'm going to skip over the intro with this too because it's on Netflix, but I am ready to dive in and see what all is going to happen in this series. What I've really liked about this series so far is that the actors, they're all pretty much spot on exactly what I thought they would be for the characters so far. So I know we've not got introduced to everybody, so I'm very, very curious what's going to happen. But I'm also really excited because from just Twitter images I've seen, it seems that unlike the Donghua and the manhwa where WuXian always stays in the same robes, they actually do change costumes in this, and it kind of matches more realistically what you would expect. I mean, obviously for animation, it would take a lot of animators' time to redo every single outfit for WuXian, but I have seen a Twitter image of him in the Land Clan robes, which is interesting. So I'm like, okay. So I'm pretty excited to see what's going to happen, y'all. So far, The Untamed has been a lot of fun, and we're only 2 episodes in. We got a lot to go, so let's not waste any more time. Let's do this, shall we? So we are going to start. I'm petting my dog here at my feet. So we're going to start episode 3 of The Untamed here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Oh my gosh. I have a feeling that I'm just going to fangirl throughout this entire experience watching The Untamed. I feel like I'm just going to fangirl because it's seeing the live action versions of all these moments from the Donghua come to life. And I've made some comments. You can already tell that there is a little bit of difference between the Donghua in this, certainly. And since the novel hasn't really gotten into the past with Gusu yet, I don't know if the Untamed version is going to go the same route as the novel or not. Don't spoil me, because I am going to eventually find out. And obviously the novel is the most canon. This is just like a version of it. But the interactions between these characters, I forget just how much of a sourpuss Wangji is at the start of the flashback from Gusu. Wanji's just such a sourpuss, and WuXian is like trying to flirt and be friendly, and Wanji's just having none of it outwardly. Inwardly is a different story, right? So I find it really interesting that Yanli and Qing are there. Like, they're the Wind sister, and then Yanli, that they're actually there in Gusu. I find that very fascinating. Obviously, you could assume that it's a way for them to be in the cast and to be in the story, but I find it intriguing that she's there. And I'm assuming the whole investigation thing is a Untamed only subplot, but it's fine. I'm okay with it. I'll take it. If it gets us interacting Ning and WuXian with the archery scene earlier than the Donghua, I'm totally fine with that. But there's a couple things. So XiChen's in this. XiChen, he's fine. There are some characters that are really attractive. I'll be honest with y'all At first, Wangji is one of my favorite characters in the story, and so I'm hypercritical on how Wangji looks. And in the manhwa, he looks great, and obviously in the Donghua and the novel, he's described very well. And so when I first saw the actor playing Wangji in this, I was like, oh, he's not handsome enough. But you know what? After this 2 set of episodes, I'm like, yeah, he's handsome enough. you just gotta kind of warm up to it. I mean, the guy, Zahn playing WuXian is perfection. Like, he's such a good WuXian, and I love his acting, and it's just so spot on. It's exactly how I'd picture WuXian. So he's perfect. But Wanji's grown on me. I was like, yeah, XiChen, a freaking teddy bear. Oh my god. And I'm sorry, but the chemistry between him and Yao's actor, oh, we'll talk about that. But it's so good. So yeah, so the whole idea of the invitation being lost, XiChen, the thing with him is he's not he's kind of a product of his own environment, very similar to Qing, very similar to WuXian. He's kind of a product of his own environment, that XiChen has this kind of upbringing, and he's surrounded by people who are just, because really honestly, when they have the whole end debacle, XiChen doesn't really say anything. It's mainly the guy next to him. And you can tell Yanli is looking at him like, grow a spine and say something. And he just won't do it. So it's going to be curious if that leads up to him confessing, like he does in the Donghua, to Yanli. That's going to be interesting to see if it builds up to that. So Wangji's dad's already dead in this, which is interesting. Because in the Donghua, I don't know about the novel, in the Donghua he doesn't die until after during the cave thing. We find out that during the cave battle that when Gusu gets burned, we find out that his dad is dying. And then after the Lotus Pier siege, we find out that he's died then. So that's when we find all that out. But in this, he's already dead. So that's interesting. Yeah, XiChen playing the matchmaker already. He's like, you know that Wei Wuxian guy, he's not such a bad fellow. It's like, oh my God. It's like, you could not be much more of a matchmaker, could you? It's so good. It's so good. And asking Wangji to make friends, he's like, you need to make friends. It's like, he does. And it's so good. So yeah, so we have this thing with Ruhan and Yang, which I'm excited that this early on we're getting Yang in the story, which is, I'm glad y'all said I needed to watch season 3 of the Donghua before getting into this, because I would have been like, this Yang guy, if I had started watching sooner. I'm glad y'all told me to wait. But yeah, I find that Yang being a part of Ruhan's plan, it seems like it's Untamed only. I feel like it's not going to be in the novel, but I'm fine with it. When I read the novel, I'm going to find out for sure. But I just can't get over how, one, Ruhan, anytime Ruhan's on stage, like the wind's blowing through his hair menacingly. It's like there's a constant fan on his hair. It's great. But the other thing is, Yang already being set up to have a lot in common with Wuxian, not only in how the actors look, like the actor playing Yang and the actor playing Wuxian kind of look similar, but the fact that they're both in black, in dark robes to begin with, they have a similar build, similar silhouette. And they have both like they both have a gremlin aspect to them. Wuxian is more like chaotic neutral gremlin, and Yang is definitely chaotic evil. So it's very, very curious. Very interesting. So also in the Untamed, if we're talking about how it's different from the Donghua and the novel, in this there's 4 parts to the Tiger Amulet instead of 2. And they have 1. The Wind Clan has 1. And they're looking for the other 3 parts of the Tiger Amulet, which I'm sure that Wuxian gets a hold of. At least Wuxian probably gets a hold of 2, right? So that's interesting. Very interesting indeed. I do like the line from Yang. He's like, I don't fear death, I fear boredom. Like, ooh, I like it. And we get set up with the finger. He has the gloves. Very, very interesting. So yeah, these 3,500 principles. Poor Wuxian. Poor Wuxian. And I just love how Wangji is so strict. But Wangji did let Yanli and all them in. So Wangji's very good at hiding when he wants to be generous and not follow the rules. But otherwise he's like, oh, okay, fine, I'll follow the rules. But he really just, I'm just ready for the gay panic to set in. It's so good. So another thing that's interesting is that Yao, we get introduced to Yao in this, which is funny, but he's with the Ni clan in this. So they set up right off the bat that he is already with the Ni clan when he's introduced. He is basically like the buddy coming on bringing the gifts with old Huisang. And they established that he's the illegitimate child and that him and XiChen, it was super awkward because XiChen just sits there like, And when you know in the Donghua that they're born on the same day, it's like one's heaven and one's hell. And it's funny they describe Yao that way when Yao's actor makes him look like a complete damn cinnamon roll, right? Here's the thing. The crazy thing about all of this is that Yao and Huisang in this episode are like the most cinnamon roll characters ever. You just want to give them both a giant hug. And then if you've watched the Donghua, you know how their characters end up. And it's like, oh my gosh, like this all setting up from the beginning just how bonkers it's going to get. I really love that we're setting up Yao's character this early on. Like, that's cool. And I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Wuxian and Wangji's actors, they've got chemistry. Right now, Wangji's in denial, so he's not acting all flirty and anything around Wuxian. Right off the bat, XiChen and XiChen and Yao have so much chemistry. Oh my god, like the actors, do not think I did not see that little pinky grab. When he was grabbing the box, he like rubbed his pinky up against Yao's hand. I'm like, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, censorship in this chaste world that we're in with this show, and you pull a stunt like that, and just like the eye screwing that they both did. But yeah, oh man, the chemistry is just off the charts with their actors. I can't get over how much chemistry Yao and XiChen's actors have with each other already. And XiChen being so kind to Yao after what was said there during the presentations. And then just Yao's actors does a really good job of making him look sympathetic and look kind. But right there at the end, right as he's walking away from XiChen, because he says he's not going to overstay his welcome, right there when the two girls pass and he like looks up and walks away, you get just like a flicker of him thinking something else. And it's just the subtlest thing. But if you know ahead of time that Yao is going to become the antagonist, then it's just like a little flicker and you're like, okay, there's something there. Interesting. But yeah, I like the setup that he's already with the Ni clan, and XiChen tells him, Mingzhu is blunt and harsh, but he also recognizes good, so you'll be fine. It's like, interesting setup. So interesting. But yeah, Chao looks a lot younger than he does in the actual, Chao looks a lot younger than he does in the Donghua. The Donghua makes him look like he's in like his late 30s, early 40s. Here he's like in his late 20s. So it's interesting. I don't see the mistress either, so I'm curious to know if she's actually going to be in this series or if they just nixed her since Qing's along the ride. I love that the Wen siblings are already here. Like Qing or Qing, I always say her name wrong, but she's a queen. I love her. And she's so pretty in this. And Ning is a damn cinnamon roll already, doing the little archery thing with WuXian. WuXian's just making friends all over the place, right? WuXian's so charismatic and friendly. He makes friends with Ning. He's trying to become Qing's friend, and she's like, no. And then he's friends with Huisang. Like getting that right off the bat, establishing that friendship. And he'd love to be friends with Wangji, but Wangji's being a little stick in the mud. Just being a stick in the mud. So, yeah, I kind of love it. I love how much the dynamic that we're setting up between all these characters, the fact that the Wen sister's snooping around, but she's trying to be covert, and Wuxian's like, covert? I don't know the meaning of the word. It's like, but then Ning becoming friends with him, Huisang, like, I love just establishing these bonds early on, because that later on in the show, when things start to go down, all these bonds and things are going to be tested and revealed. And I love the fact that we're getting WuXian interacting with the Wens so early, like within episode 4, because on down the line it's setting up for not only Ning protecting WuXian and Chang and also going with WuXian, but it's also setting up the Wens leaving with the Yiling Patriarch. It's setting all that up. That's really, really cool. I like it. And then you also get the fact that Huisang, you're setting up him with the fan and all this, and him just wanting to play and have fun. Like, it's setting up a lot of really, really good things. But damn, yeah, these 2 episodes here, if I was going to put a tagline in the header, it would probably be like brotherly love, because there's so many moments. You had WuXian and Chang with Yanli, both of them like watching out for their sister and trying to like defend her and also keep her safe. And then when they bonded there at the dinner table at the end of the episode, it was so sweet, because that you're not going to get a lot of moments like this. So I love that we have those bonding moments with the 3 of them together. So you had that. You have Wangji with his brother XiChen. We set that brotherly love up here. You have the siblings, the Wen siblings, Ning's brotherly love towards his sister. You have that being set up. You have kind of like the, not biological, but the brotherly love between XiChen and Yao and Huisang, the Ni brothers, the triad, the venerated triad. You have all that being set up in this. And then it's just all this brotherly love and affection being set up, and these bonds right off the bat that we're getting previews of. And I think that's so freaking cool. I like the fact that they all have different robes. I liked seeing it. Threw me off. I didn't recognize Yao at first because he wasn't in Jin robes. He was in purple robes, like with the Ni clan. But purple looks really good on him. Not gonna lie. But yeah, I like that Wangji's almost always in white because he's so pure. And then you have XiChen in the blue. And then Kieran kind of has this like turquoise teal color there. And then obviously they're all in Gusu, so they have like white robes on as well, kind of like Wangji. But yeah, it's just so good. Like the expressions, the chemistry between Yao and XiChen was probably my favorite part of these episodes because it's so good. It's like palpable, like the tension between these two already. I was like, holy cow, and you all haven't even done anything yet. But at the same time, Wangji's disdain throughout this entire set of episodes was absolutely wonderful. I love how he was just like looking at WuXian like, are you serious? Like, really? It was great. It was absolutely wonderful. I could gush. I could gush so much. I'm curious to know what this whole thing with the Win siblings being in Gusu, what that's going to pan out to, what exactly, I guess they're trying to find another shard of the tiger amulet. But where Yang's involvement comes into all this, it's curious because in the Donghua, Yang wasn't involved with the Wen clan. Not really. It was Yao that was involved in the Wen clan to get in there and kill Ruhan. So I'm curious what they're going to do with Yang in this case. If he's associated with Ruhan right now, how they're going to spin that back around and get him out of that. Because in the Donghua that wasn't even a thing, and I doubt it is in the novel. So it seems like it's a Untamed only aspect. So that's very, very curious. I don't know. I really just love the character development between all these characters throughout this. The action's good in places, and then there's parts where it's like it's more about the artistic nature of it. It's all about the artistry of them flowing through the air and their robes flowing in the breeze. It's very artistic and grand, and it's interesting. So yeah, I'm super curious to know what we're getting into with these characters and what they're going to be doing. So, and I'm kind of on board with there being a little bit of deviation from the novel and from the Donghua because it'll make it more surprising to watch, to be like, oh, we're doing this? Okay. So I'm totally on board with it because I know at the end of the day, the novel is the legit canon source and the Donghua is an alteration of that, and this is an alteration of it. So at the end of the day, I'm going to treat the novel as the ultimate canon, and this is just an alternate version of the canon. So I'm still really excited about it, though. I'm kind of on board. So yeah, pretty interested, y'all. I don't know what y'all thought about these 2 episodes. I loved them. I like I said, I have a feeling I'm going to be fangirling the entire time watching this series, especially now that Donghua is over. And it's going to be cool to kind of keep track of some of this stuff as I'm watching the novel. Because today, like, I did the whole audio drama and novel review this morning, and then I came back and watched this. So it's going to be interesting to do that week to week and just see how they differ. So, and then it'll all come together at the end, and we'll see how it's different then. But yeah, this was a great set of episodes. I absolutely loved it. So I hope y'all enjoyed this reaction too. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. Please don't spoil me with anything don't spoil me with plot elements that are different from the Donghua and the novel. I'll figure it out as we go, but I'm curious to know what you thought of this chemistry because it was off the charts, both with WuXian and Wangji, but also with Yao and XiChen. So curious to know your thoughts about that. But in the meantime, I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back next week with more of The Untamed. Bye.